Okay, hey guys, welcome back to another IC Markets Pre-Markets Live Analysis webinar. Alright, as usual, this is the disclaimer. Remember that everything in this webinar is educational in nature and nothing should be construed as investment or trading advice. Alright, so please remember to do your own due diligence before you guys trade. Oh, hi Nick. Yeah, sure, of course. We'll go through DXY and gold later on. Alright? No worries. Okay? Let me just go through the key news events, and after that we'll go through the chart analysis together. Alright? Okay, so the agenda for today will be pretty simple as usual. Firstly, we'll be covering high impact news events for the week ahead, and then afterwards we'll be going through key technical setups to watch out for. Hello, hi Kareem. Okay, remember guys, if you have any trade setups that you want me to look at, for example, you want me to look at euro dollar, you want me to look at gold, you want me to look at anything, right? Just feel free to type it in the chat and I'll get to it. Alright, let me just put this here. Okay, so I'm your host for today. My name is Woon Hong and I'll be going through the pre-markets live analysis today. Alright, so for the key news events for the week ahead. Alright, so for Monday itself, we have no news, so you can expect the markets to be not volatile. Alright, however, on Tuesday, we have USD, core PPI news, core retail sales, and etc. Alright, so it will be quite volatile for the USD pairs, right, such as euro dollar, pound dollar, even gold, right? Okay, so for Wednesday, right, we have AUD news, AUD CPI, NZD news as well, official cash rate, and also the monetary policy statement. So this will definitely affect pairs such as AUD USD, NZD USD. Alright, so please be careful for these pairs. Okay, then afterwards we have tentative news for GBP, and also we have the very important news, which is USD unemployment claims. Alright, so this news is to prep for the upcoming December NFP, non-farm payroll news. Alright, and then afterwards on Thursday we have no news at all, so the markets will not be that volatile as well. And then for Friday we have CAD GDP. Alright, do we have any expectations for the USD news on Tuesday? Yes, I think we do have the some trade setups that we can look for on Tuesday itself, because Monday we don't really have any news, so I believe the markets will move a little bit slow, right, in a sense. Okay, but Tuesday we might have some movements. Okay, so later on I'll be showing you guys what we can look forward towards in the week ahead. Alright, so without further ado, let's head back to the charts to do the analysis. Okay, so for Tuesday, right, let me just remove this. Okay, so as you can see right now, we are on the chart for DXY. Okay, we are on the daily chart for DXY. Alright, so if you can see right here, right, we have a strong push for DXY, a pretty good recovery actually, right? The US dollar is strengthening. However, it might actually meet a obstacle coming soon, and I will show you guys where it is. Okay, okay, so right here, let me see, let me just put an arrow, a bullish arrow for you guys to look at. Alright, then the next thing that we might want to see, right, is you can see right here there is a horizontal level that if we stretch all the way here, right, this is actually a overlap resistance level over here. Okay, so this is our pivot point. Alright, and then for our pivot point, let's see, if we mark out the Fibo retracement level and we stretch it all the way over here, we can see that price is at the 38.2% Fibo retracement level. Okay, then the next thing is of course whether we do have any Fibo projection. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, we don't have a Fibo projection, but I think we do have a, let me see. Okay, so right here we do have the 127.2% Fibo extension level over here. Okay, so this could impact price, right? And if you look at the lower time frame, let me show you guys. Let me put this so that you guys can see it. Okay, so everything actually lines up very nicely for this area over here. And the reason why I say that price could meet a major obstacle is because we have the, firstly, we have the 38.2% Fibo retracement level, followed by the 127.2% Fibo extension level, right, marked out from this Nike tick over here. And then the last thing that we have is of course a 100% Fibo projection level. So this will actually affect DXY, and once DXY reaches this area over here, it will actually have a rejection towards the downside, right? Maybe it might only be a minor resistance, but from what I can see, price will definitely, there is a high probability that price could fall towards this level over here. I would say at least back to this support level. Okay, so let me just mark this out. Let me just mark this out for you guys. Extended green. Okay, this should be red. Okay, then the next thing that I will show you guys is where shall our first resistance be. Okay, so our first resistance will definitely be right over here, which is a overlap resistance as well, right? So we shall place this as our first resistance. And what about our first support? Right, our first support shall be back at this area over here. Okay, so if you look at DXY, is pretty straightforward. You can see how once price breaks past this high over here, let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay, so once price breaks past this high, okay, you can expect it to rise all the way up to this pivot point, and then we will see some form of resistance over here and come back to this first support. Okay, so that is what I am actually looking at for DXY. Okay, so if DXY reaches here, right, what we can expect for euro dollar, pound dollar, and anything that ends with USD, right, we can see we can expect it to rise from there, right, because DXY has a inverse correlationship with these pairs. Okay, and then for the pairs that starts with USD, just to make it a little bit simpler for you guys, right? USD CHF, USD JPY, USD CAD, those pairs will actually rise. Okay, so pretty simple. Okay, so far any questions for DXY? Because I believe for this DXY setup for this week ahead is pretty important, right? Especially for Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, these are the 2 days that you need to take note of USD pairs. Alright, if you guys have any questions, remember to ask me so that I can attend to your questions. Okay, let me just move on to the other pairs. Alright, so as you can see right here, okay, so for we are on the daily chart. Yes, so we are expecting DXY to rise then reverse. Yes, exactly. That's not exactly reverse, but we are expecting DXY to rise towards this pivot point and then have a drop off. Okay, it might not actually reverse entirely, right? It might only reverse a little bit, right, up to this first support level over here. Wouldn't reverse too much, right? Because I believe that the 100 level, right, is important. It's a very psychological level for DXY. So once price reaches 101, right, 101.7, it will come back to 100 and then we will have a rise again. Okay, so that's what I am expecting for DXY. Pretty simple. Okay, Nick, all good, right? Yeah, that's a valid question, right? Because it's good that you guys ask these questions just to clarify so that you have a better idea of how DXY will actually move. Okay. Alright, now moving on to the euro dollar. Okay, you can see if I were to mark it out over here. Alright, just to clear up all the charts, if I were to show you, right, for the euro dollar, okay, if you turn on the Ichimoku cloud, right, it is bearish for now. Okay, however, this bearish movement will definitely be temporary based off DXY, right? Because remember, we are expecting a drop from a resistance point for DXY. So if we are expecting a drop, right, so we might expect a push from maybe this level over here. Okay, so if I were to turn on this Ichimoku cloud indicator and show you guys the setup, this will how it will actually look like for euro dollar, right? We will have a pivot point over here, which is a overlap support. Alright, then the next thing is, of course, we can see that there is a 61.8% Fibo projection as well. Okay, and if I were to yeah, and then we also have a 100% Fibo projection right at this area over here. So everything lines up perfectly on how euro dollar might react as well. Okay, so this is a rather strong overlap support level, right? But we'll label this as our pivot point so that we can see how euro dollar might actually bounce off from this level. Okay, so you can see how euro dollar, right, it will Now for now it's bearish. You can see how it's creating lower lows, lower highs, and expecting a lower low before creating a lower high. Okay. Yep, so this is our first resistance level over here, and of course this is our first support level over here. Okay, so this is how I would actually refine it, and we are expecting a bullish push upwards. Okay, pretty straightforward for euro dollar actually. Alright, then the next thing is of course GBP USD. Okay, so for GBP USD, let me put all of this. Almost forgot to put this over here. Okay, now moving on to GBP USD. Okay, so we are expecting a pivot point, right? If we are looking for let me see how. Okay. So we are actually expecting a push. Let me see, DXY created lower low, lower high. Okay, that's fine. Okay, if you see right here, we have a 100% Fibo projection right about this level, which is a overlap support level at our pivot point. So I'm expecting, I wouldn't go against my analysis. You can see for euro dollar, right? But this might be a little bit far-fetched, so let's see how I can adjust this a little bit. Okay, so for now, I think what we can expect is for GBP USD to drop first, right? Because you can see how euro dollar, okay, is bearish, right? Sometimes it doesn't really follow the same for euro dollar and pound dollar, right? A lot of people think that euro dollar and pound dollar will definitely move in the same way, right? However, they might be wrong sometimes. Okay, so what I could probably expect, right, is for us to see if there is a projection. Let's see, I'm looking at this pullback level actually. Okay, so I think it's at this 70.61. Let me see. Okay, we don't have a projection, that's fine. But what I am looking at is at this level over here, this pullback level. Okay, this shall be our pivot point. Alright, and as for our oh wait, let me show you guys if we have a Fibo retracement. Should be at this 61. Yeah. Okay, so should be at the 61.8% Fibo retracement level. And then for our first resistance, let's put it above this high over here. Okay, then for our first support, right, we will put it based off this low, this swing low. Alright, wait, let me see which is. Yeah, I think this is fine. Okay, so we are expecting DXY, we are expecting GBP USD to actually fall. Let me see. Yeah, okay, so we are expecting GBP USD to fall, and let me take this. okay, at least towards this first support level over here. Alright, I think this is pretty straightforward. Let's see how this might actually play out. 2, 3. Okay, let's move on to AUD USD. Okay, so for AUD USD, right, let me just take all of this out. Okay, so for AUD USD, right, we have created a inverse Nike tick. So let's see how 161. Yeah, I think this is fine. 161. Okay, and then we will mark out our Fibo retracement level to see if anything aligns. 38.2, that's fine. Okay, so we will actually mark out this level over here. This shall be our pivot point. Okay, so this level is pretty crucial. Let's see how price will actually react to this level, because this level has proper Fibo confluence. We have 38.2% Fibo retracement level as well as 161.8% Fibo extension level. Okay, so we can expect price to bounce off from this pivot point. Good day to you too, my friend. Okay, so let's see, and I am sure there is a projection. Let's see. Projection has reached. Okay, so this level, let's see, then the next thing is of course to mark out our first resistance and our first support level. So let's start off with our first support level. So our first support level will definitely be back at this area over here, and the reason why is we will choose the next so it's roughly at the 61.8% Fibo retracement level. Okay, then for our resistance, right, our resistance level shall be back at this swing high resistance level over here. Alright, so this shall be bullish. Okay, let me see. Okay, so AUD USD done as well. Okay, so far we've gone through euro dollar, pound dollar, and Aussie, right? Any questions so far? Okay, any questions? So I will usually ask if you guys have any questions midpoint after I go through let's say 4 pairs. Like, yeah, so far we have gone through 4 pairs. So any questions so far? Okay, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, alright? Okay, yeah, sure. Alright, let's move on to gold. Okay, after gold, I'll go through the rest of the majors. Alright, so let's see. Okay, let me just break it down for you guys a little bit, right? And show you guys. Okay, so as we can see, we have a major drop off previously, right? It's normal because after price has reached all-time high, it's very normal for price to react and have a drop off. So this is called our correction. Okay, so as of right now, right, price actually recovered, and now price is deciding, right? If you go to the lower time frame, we can see consolidation over here, right? we can definitely see consolidation on the H4 time frame. So if we go back to the daily time frame, let's see if we were to mark out our projection. Okay, we can see that let me just mark this out, 61. Okay, we can see that there is a chance that price will go back to this 61.8% feeble projection level, which is a multi-swing low support area over here. So we will label this as our pivot point. Okay, then the next thing that we want to put as our resistance is, of course, right over here at this body of this candle. It might seem a little bit of far-fetched, right? Why is the gap so big? Okay, so the reasoning is just to give you guys a gauge of where price might fluctuate, right? It's not so much of whether to put your stop loss above this high. No. Okay, alright, so this shall be our first resistance. Okay, then the next thing is, of course, to look at where price might actually end up as well. So we'll mark this out as our 100%. Let me put this as my first support. Okay, 100% feeble projection as well. Okay, so if I were to do a feeble retracement level, let me see. Okay, so this is the low that we should use. Fibs 38.2. Okay, so if I were to show you guys 38.2, okay, so we can't use the 38.2 feeble retracement already, and the reason why is because price has already closed below before. Alright, so we wouldn't use this 38.2% feeble retracement at all. Okay, so a lot of people would have this misconception that after the feeble retracement level close below, right, means close below meaning that the body of the candle has crossed the feeble retracement level, right, they can still use it. But from my experience, you shouldn't use it, because this means that the feeble retracement level is considered as weak and it is not fresh anymore, right? Same as your fair value gap, right? Fair value gap, if price has closed within it before, you shouldn't use it. Okay, same logic. Alright, let's see. Then of course, let me see if there is actually a 78. Okay, so there is actually a 78.6%, but it is quite far, so let me just mark this out. Alright, okay, so we actually do have a 78.6% feeble. Let me see. Actually, let's not use it, because it seems a little bit too far from our pivot point. Okay, so the only thing that we shall look at is, of course, the projection itself. Okay, so I think that is what we shall use. Let me see if I missed anything out. Okay, then of course we have a, let me see. Okay, then if I were to go, let me show you guys. If I were to go to the lower time frame, just focus on this part. Okay, just focus on this part. If I were to go to the lower time frame, you can definitely see that there is also a 78.6% feeble projection. Okay, so lower time frame H4, right, together with daily time frame projection, this is a good area for the buyers to come in, right? The buyers will definitely come in right here. Okay, but let's see how price will actually react to this area. Okay, one very important thing that I want to share with you guys is always remember to look at H4 and H1. Okay, we need to see body closure, right? The only moment where you enter is where there is body closure above your pivot point, which is this level. And then the next thing is we need to see a bullish engulfing candle. Then once price opens above, then we shall enter. This is considered a valid entry. Okay, if price close above but opens below, okay, this is the part where you need to be a little bit more careful. Alright, so it's all about price action as well. Okay, a little bit more advanced, but I'm sure that you guys understand what I am trying to share with you guys. Okay, not just setups alone, but more of a little bit more of educational purposes also, so that you guys have a better idea of how price moves sometimes. Okay, so that's all for gold. Okay, so next thing, alright, so next thing is let us look at, oh wait, of course. Okay, next thing is let's take a look at NZD USD. Okay, I actually like to trade NZD USD for some reason. I have no idea why, but yeah. Okay, alright, so for NZD USD, okay, we are looking at this pivot point over here, which is a multi-swing low support level, which almost aligns with our 78.6% Fibo projection level. Alright, then the next thing that we can add on is, of course, I think we do have a 161.8. Oh, that's a bit too far. Okay, we shall not use it. Yeah, okay, so we have our pivot point over here, and once price, you can see how many times price reached this point, and then we have a strong push upwards. Okay, so we have a strong push upwards from here, we have a strong push upwards from here, so you can expect price to rise from this area most of the time. Okay, and then of course our first support is marked out from a higher point of projection level. Okay, so this area would just mean that NZD USD would reach its lowest point since very long ago. Okay, if I were to, since 2009, which is, wow, a lot of people are actually waiting for NZD USD to reverse. Okay, so let's see how this might actually play out. Alright, okay, so next thing is USD CHF. Okay, so for USD CHF, right, if you look on the daily time frame, you can see how price is actually within this whole area over here. Okay, so meaning that price is still consolidating, not sure whether to fall lower or to rise. But if we were to follow DXY, right, we are expecting DXY to fall, so USD CHF should fall as well. Okay, so how can we look at where shall our pivot point be? Right, our pivot point shall be back at this level over here. Alright, okay, Then for our resistance level, okay, our resistance level shall be placed at this level over here. Let me see how many pips it is actually. Oh wow, that's 300 pips. Okay, that's a bit too high. Okay, we shall place it back at this head and shoulders pattern level over here. Alright, if you can visualize this, right? This is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. Okay, so we shall place this as our first resistance level. Okay, because if I were to put it right over here, that is about 300 over pips, right? That's a little bit too much for USD CHF. Alright, so we shall place it above here. Okay, then the next thing that we should look at is, of course, let me see. Wait one sec. Let me see if there's actually a projection. 100% probably. Yeah, 100% feeble projection. And then what's the other thing that I wanted to look at? Yeah, I think that's about it for. Oh yes, of course, our first support, right? Definitely back at this multi-swing low support level over here. Okay, so let's see how USD CHF will perform this time, right? Well, if actually you have been trading within this consolidation period, right, it's quite tiring, but it is rewarding, right? You have to wait so many days just for price to hit your take profit, and then so many days, about more than a week actually, about a week, from 5th November all the way until 14th of November. That is about 8 days, 9 days, right, for price to hit your take profit, right? But that is pretty rewarding. That is 232 pips. Wow, that's pretty mad. Okay, bearish arrow. Okay, so I think it's pretty straightforward for USD CHF. Let's see how this might actually play out. Alright, yeah, so let's see if price will continue to trade within this consolidation area. Okay, then now let's take a look at USD CHF. Okay, so for USD CHF, right? Oh, sorry, USD JPY. Wow, yes, already rejected off. Let me see. Okay, this is invalid anymore. Okay, so the next level that I am actually looking at for USD CHF is this level over here. Okay, so this might be a little bit different, right? USD JPY works a little bit differently. I think we have this is because of one of the major news. Okay, but let's see. Our pivot point will definitely be back at this level over here, right, which is a overlap support level. Alright, this is our pivot point, and of course let's see whether there is any feeble retracement level. Yeah, we have the 31. Okay, we shall place 38 and 61. Okay, so we will place these two levels. Alright, then yeah, we have our 38.2% feeble retracement level that aligns with our pivot point. Then the next thing is, of course, this area over here, which aligns with our first support. Okay, which is the 61.8% level, which aligns with our first support. Okay, then the next thing is, of course, our first resistance level, which is this area over here. Okay, so I think it's pretty straightforward for USD JPY. Let's put this as a bullish arrow. And then of course we have this over here. Okay, so I think it's pretty straightforward for USD JPY. Let's see how this might actually react. Okay, so last major that we are going to cover. Okay, so for USD CAD, alright, so for USD CAD, let me just mark it out for you guys. Right, we can see that price is actually in the uptrend over here, right? So we are expecting price to continue to rise, alright, but we will definitely meet an obstacle over here. Same thing, right? Following DXY, right? Price might actually meet an obstacle over here, so we shall place this as our pivot point. Alright, then let's see if it aligns with any Fibo retracement level. Okay, so we can see how price might actually react to this level over here. Let me put this. Okay, and then for our, let's see, yeah, I think that's about it. Then for our first resistance will be definitely back at this swing high resistance level over here. Okay, then for our first support, right, will definitely be back at this swing low support level over here. Okay, so let's see how price will actually react towards this level. Alright, I think it's pretty straightforward for USD CAD as well. Okay, okay. Now let's move on to the cousin of gold. Alright, so for silver, okay, so for silver we definitely have, you can see right here, if I were to just remove all of this, alright, you can see how it moves like gold. If I were to show you like this is gold and this is silver. Alright, so you can see how we might actually expect price to react to this back at this pivot point over here. This is our pivot point. Alright, then for our, let me see, $61.8. Okay, then this shall be our, at this level, okay, this pullback support level shall be our first support. Alright, then for our first resistance, of course we are going to put it right back at this high over here. Okay, technically I wanted to put it at this pullback resistance over here, but price hasn't closed yet, so I will put it at this first resistance level. Alright, okay, so let me see, let's see if there is projection. Okay, so we technically have a projection right about here. Okay, and let's see if we do have a 78.6. Yeah, we have 78.6% feasible retracement as well as 78.6% feasible projection together at this area over here. Alright, so once price comes back to this level, let's see how it might actually react to our pivot point. Same logic, right? We want it to close above our pivot point and then we can make decisions from there. Alright, then of course we have our bullish arrow, and then yeah, okay, so far so good. Let's see. Okay, last of the commodities. I don't like to use that. Okay, so for, let me see. So for oil, right? This is just a general outlook for oil. Okay, so let's just move this. Okay, so for oil itself, right, you can see how it is within a bearish channel. Okay, so even though it's within a bearish channel, so what can we expect next is, for of course we already can see how price is going down, right? So we can possibly look for entries right at the end of the channel. Okay, so where is a common level, right? I would say this is a common level right here. So this is a valid support for oil itself. Let me see if there is a projection. Okay, we do have a 78.6% feasible projection. Alright, right at this area, so this shall be our pivot point. Okay, then the next thing is, of course, where shall our resistance be? Our resistance shall be back at this level over here, which is a overlap resistance level. Okay, then the next thing is our support. Right, I think our support shall just be, let me see. I think there is another level here which is a little bit further. Yeah. Here, this is where we had a strong push above. Okay, so this is a valid support. Alright, so I think this, let's see how this might actually play out. Then of course we have a bullish arrow, and then this. Okay, so we have covered all the majors, we've covered the commodities. Let's do, how about let's do Bitcoin. Okay, so the good question. Alright, so the projection values that I usually use are only 61.8. Alright, so let me show you guys. Okay, just this projection values 61.8. okay, that is one. 78.6. oh my gosh, my handwriting. Okay, then the last thing is of course 100%. Okay, just these three, my friend, just these three. Okay, these are the only projection values that I use. Some people use 200%, which I feel is a bit much, right? Usually if price reaches 200%, that is where you see like a major reversal coming soon. Okay, but projection is just a, how I put this, it's just for you, for a gauge for you to see where price might end up at. Okay, not entirely it's not entirely a confluence itself. Okay, so don't just base off your projection and just count on it, okay, because there are a lot of projections. Okay, let me show you. For example, something like this, right? For Bitcoin, let me show you. If I were to mark out from this high, I was like, oh, where is 126 going? Okay, and then for price from this low and from this high. Okay, so if we were here, if let's say we were here, okay, we were here, price already from this all-time high, and then we have this low over here, and then we have a lower high. Okay, so we will be like, okay, where is price going actually, right? So the next thing we'll look at is we'll start to play. Okay, so once price reach this 78.6% level, together with this crucial level over here, this is where I will enter buys. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's how you can see a bounce over here, and not sure how this plays out. Oh, okay, yeah, this is your first obstacle, so this should have been your first take profit target. Okay, from your entry, your first take profit target. Now stop loss should be roughly about here. Okay, so maybe about 1:1.8, something like that. Okay, just an example. Okay, yeah, you can see how price actually hit this level and went all the way down. Okay, alright, then the next thing is let me see. Yeah, okay, so for Bitcoin, what is this? Okay, we have a bullish candle over here. Alright, so let's see, price is actually rising towards a level that we can probably look at for an entry, which is this level over here, and this level is our pullback resistance level. So we shall place this as our pivot point, and this area as our first resistance, and for our first support, right, will definitely be back at this level over here. Let's see how this might actually play out. Okay, so for our fib retracement, I believe we have a 61.8%. Let's see. Yeah, roughly about there. Okay. Alright, then let's see. Okay, then of course this shall be our bearish arrow. Okay, so for crypto, right, is definitely in a bearish market right now, very strong bearish market. Yeah, let's see. There is a possibility that price might continue to drop from this area over here, so be sure to monitor this area at this level 99. Okay, let's see how this might actually play out. Okay, yeah, so far all these are all the setups that I have for you guys. Alright, so yeah, we have covered the majors, we've covered commodities, we've covered crypto as well. Okay, so these are all the setups that I am actually looking at for the week ahead. Alright, so let's see how all this might actually play out. Pretty excited for Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, so that's all from me to you guys. Alright, I hope that you guys enjoyed the session as much as I did, right? As you guys are amazing, right? You guys are interacting with me and keeping it interesting. Alright, so thank you guys for joining into another pre-market live analysis. Alright, I shall see you guys in the next time. Alright, so that's all from me. Remember to stay safe and trade safe. Okay, I shall see you guys in the next coming weeks ahead. Okay, take care and bye bye. Welcome. Alright, remember to stay safe and trade safe. Alright guys, it'll be a pretty interesting week in the upcoming week ahead. Okay, that's all. Bye bye.